You ever stop and wonder how energy actually works in the natural world? I mean, really think about it. How does the power from the sun hitting a tiny flower somehow end up fueling a massive eagle soaring way up in the sky? Well, there's a fascinating journey there, and we're about to follow it.
So let's start with a question that sounds kind of like a riddle, right? How does a top predator get its energy from a plant? A lion isn't out there munching on grass. You don't see a shark snacking on seaweed. And yet, the energy that powers them, it absolutely starts in those places. The answer lies in one of the most fundamental concepts in all of biology.
And that answer, it's called the food chain. You can almost think of it as the official rule book for an ecosystem, the one that lays out exactly how energy is passed around, from the smallest blade of grass to the most powerful animal.
So, what is a food chain, really? Well, at its very core, it's a simple, straight line, a linear pathway. And the key words you want to hang on to here are flow and pathway. This isn't just a random free-for-all. Nope. It's a structured, organized transfer of energy and nutrients from one living thing to the next.
And that's really the big idea we have to nail down before we go any further. It's simple and it's a straight line. Think of it like a one-way street. Energy moves in only one direction, from the thing that gets eaten to the thing that does the eating.
Okay, so if it's a one-way street, how does it actually work? Let's follow that flow of energy step by step and really look at this who eats whom sequence.
And that phrase right there, that really hits the nail on the head. The food chain is all about who eats whom. It's the simple and, let's be honest, sometimes brutal story of who's having lunch and who is lunch.
Now, every food chain has its key players. It all kicks off with what we call the producer. This is almost always a plant, something that can capture energy directly from the sun through photosynthesis. And then at the other end, you've often got a predator, an animal that gets its energy by hunting other animals. The beginning and the end of the line. So let's lay it out in 3 really simple steps. First, you've got the producer, say a plant, soaking up that sunlight and creating the initial energy. Then along comes a consumer, maybe a rabbit, that eats the plant to get that energy. And finally, you have a predator, like a fox, that eats the rabbit. And just like that, the energy that started in the sun has been passed all the way up the chain.
Okay, so it's a simple 3-step chain. You might be thinking, what's the big deal? Why is this one little line of energy flow so incredibly important to how all of nature works?
Well, it really all boils down to 2 things: connection and dependence. The food chain shows us, clear as day, that every single organism is relying on the one right below it for its survival. You take out just one link in that chain and the whole thing can fall apart. These individual chains are like the essential wires that power the entire ecosystem. And that's the big takeaway here, the most crucial point. From a single blade of grass all the way up to an eagle circling in the sky, nothing in an ecosystem is truly on its own. Every living thing is connected through this constant, life-giving flow of energy. That right there is the power of the food chain.
And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to chew on. We've just been looking at one simple, straight line. But we know ecosystems are messy, they're incredibly complex. So what happens when hundreds or even thousands of these individual food chains all start to cross over and connect with each other? What does that picture look like?